Hello, everyone, and welcome to round three of season 11 of Grand Arena. It's been an exciting last couple of days. We've had a lot of news regarding the uh, Galactic Republic faction and the new territory battle which is about to come out, the Geonosian one. I've been pretty excited about this, and not just because I'm a big fan of the Separatists and I've geared up the droids, but I'm a huge fan of the Galactic Republic as well. In fact, my very first character that I seven-starred was Mace Windu, and Mace was the very first ship I used as well. For a few months, that was the only ship that I used in the arena before I switched to Tarkin. But it's been a pretty exciting time for me. I've just been looking forward to this for a long time, and I know quite a few game changers also have. I know McMole and Arnold also are pretty excited about this. Before I go on to my actual Grand Arena itself, I want to talk a little bit about what this whole rework means specifically with the protection up buff. I'm sure a lot of game changers and other YouTubers have covered a lot about this rework, including the rework kits, possible synergies, and all of that. I want to focus on one specific aspect of this rework, which is the whole concept of protection up for the Galactic Republic. I find that a very interesting concept, and I think it has quite a few implications. Now, protection is something which was introduced not immediately into the game. Initially, we just had health. All characters just had a single health bar, and it was only after a few months that protection was introduced into the game. I believe in the first year. By the time I started playing this game, about a year into it, protection was already there. But I've read about folks saying that there was a time when Luminara, Barris, these kind of healers were extremely valuable just because they could heal, and healing was so valuable. When protection came in, the value of healers went down a little bit. And initially, CG was very, very specific about which characters could regain protection, which is why when Thrawn first came out about a year into the game, and his ability to recover 40% protection was a big deal back then. It was it made him quite OP. That and the fact that his leadership could recover protection as well, that was a pretty big deal. Nowadays, of course, we've got quite a few leaders who can recover protection. So, other characters, non-leaders as well, who regenerate protection back. So it's not that big a deal, but initially it was. And and both health and protection, when they came out, they were permanent buffs, as in they're permanent stats which are recorded in the stat of a character itself, and they don't change in the battle at all. The only way that it changes is in some cases, like Sith Marauder, for example. He's got a special which can reduce the enemy's maximum health. You've also got characters like Vandor, for example, who can modify their own health and protection. There's a special that Vandor has, which which let me just move over to Vandor. So his unique has it basically says that it's the other one, yeah, the beast. It basically modifies its own stats to make it 40% less max protection and 80% more max health. So you do have some exceptions like that, but more or less the stats that you have for protection and health are more or less constant. Now, somewhere around the time that Thrawn came out, we came out to this new concept of we had this new concept of purple protection, which is protection up. And that's something which was started by the Phoenix faction. If you look at the Phoenix faction, these guys like Kanan and uh, yeah, so Kanan and I think Zeb as well, they grant allies protection up, which is a buff, which uh, which basically gives a purple bar of protection up which is a temporary buff which is granted in battle. And it was a buff, so that means that could be prevented by shock or buff immunity, and it could be dispelled and copied as well with someone like Grandmaster Yoda, for example. So this initially came in with with the Phoenix faction, but now Galactic Republic is a faction which has quite a lot of it. I mean, initially it was only Grandmaster Yoda who used to give the protection buff out with his battle meditation, about 30% protection up. And then C3PO came in and started giving a protection up buff through the intermediary special that he has, which is basically all Galactic Republic gain protection up whenever they gain a buff. So these two characters were there, and now with the rework of Anakin and Ahsoka, we have both these characters giving out the protection up buff. Anakin on his AOE, he grants about 10% stacking protection up for each critical hit that he hits, and then Ahsoka also ends up giving quite a lot of protection up for I believe on her special. Yes, all allies recover 20% health, and Galactic Republic gain protection up for 1 turn. And in addition, the reworked General Kenobi's kit, the Zeta that he has, gives all if any Galactic Republic ally has got loses any protection up, that ends up giving him taunts with his Zeta. So you have 5 characters in the Galactic Republic now which end up using protection up in some way or the other. Either they give protection up to the allies, or they end up taunting in the case of General Kenobi when protection up expires on allies. And I'm betting you that once the clone reworks come out, there will be some form of protection up concept over there as well. Currently, Cody's lead gives recovers protection for all allies when they for all clone allies when they assist or use their basic. I'm sure there'll be some sort of a protection up benefit ingrained into this as well when their kits are reworked in the future. So this is something which is going to be pretty common to the Galactic Republic faction, and it's going to be their thing, protection up. Um, Now, before I talk any more about protection up specifically, there's another kind of protection up which is present with two forms of characters. One is Wampa. Um, he was the very first character who came out with the locked protection up buff. With his Icebreaker special, he gets 150% protection up, and which can't be dispelled, prevented, or copied. And the only way that it goes away is once it's exhausted. Once the enemy chews through all that damage, that's when it gets exhausted. And the second character to go with a locked protection up buff was Bastila Shan. With her leadership, it gives a locked protection up of 200% to all Jedi allies. And this is also something which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented, and it only goes away once it's exhausted. So these are the so for all practical purposes, this locked protection buff that Wampa and Bastila have is exactly the same as the other protection up buff that the Phoenix or the Galactic Republic have. The only difference is this is locked and it can't be dispelled or prevented. There's another kind of purple protection which I want to talk briefly about, and that is bonus protection. A lot of times, some folks might confuse the two, protection up and bonus protection, but bonus protection is something very different, and that's present in only 2 characters. There's Darth Treya and Nest, and Darth Treya, she gets bonus protection, and this is the way that this is different from protection up is bonus protection. Unlike the regular protection up buff, this is not a buff, so it that means it can't be dispelled, prevented, or copied, and uh, and only enemies can apply it. Your own allies can't apply protection, bonus protection on these characters. So what I mean by that is, in the example of Treya, she gets protection. She gets a bonus protection anytime that any of the allies suffer a debuff. So she gets a 10% bonus protection. So the enemies are applying the protection up on the bonus protection on Treya. Similarly, in the case of Nest, let me shift over to Scoundrels. In the case of Nest, again, she can't apply bonus protection on herself. The only way that she gets it is when enemies attack her. So that's how enemies end up giving bonus protection to both Nest as well as Treya. And again, this is not a buff, so it can't be dispelled, prevented, or copied. The There is a natural counter which is there for in the kits of a couple of characters for both protection up as well as bonus protection. Now, for bonus protection, in the case of Treya and Nest, the counter to this is Jedi Knight Revan. So he has a Jedi Knight Revan has a special, which basically it's a unique, or rather his leader ability. Anytime that anyone uses a basic ability, when a Jedi ally uses a basic ability, it reduces the target's max health by 10% if they have bonus protection. So this only applies in the case of Treya and Nest. And the other character who counters not bonus protection, but protection up is HK-47 with the Zeta, the second Zeta. Any enemy with protection up can't gain bonus turn meter. So that means that all your Phoenix allies, whenever they have protection up, or your Galactic Republic allies, whenever they have protection up. Grandmaster Yoda, for example, he counters a lot, and on his basic, he gains up to 40% turn meter if the enemy is above 50% health. So all that will be prevented with the Zeta on HK-47. So this is the so HK-47 has something in his kit to directly counter protection up, and and um, Jedi Knight Revan has something which counters bonus protection. One thing to remember is, even though Treya herself has generates bonus protection, with her isolate she gives protection up to another ally. So that what she gives to another ally, and while reducing their cooldowns, is actually the protection up buff, which can be dispelled. So in case you're going against a Darth Revan team without Malik, and you're using EP lead with Treya and Nihilus to try to gain turn meter, it's best not to target your Nihilus with Treya's um, isolate ability to reduce his cooldown, because that one cooldown reduction is not worth the extra the fact that that protection up is applied on Nihilus, and if the HK-47 on the enemy team has got a Zeta, then your Nihilus is not going to end up getting any turn meter, so that's not worth it. So I always target my tank like Sith Trooper or Shore with this isolate ability whenever I'm going against an EP lead, whenever I'm going against a Darth Malik with EP lead. So that's just a brief overview of the different kinds of protections. A quick reminder that when it comes to ships, there's one ship which does have protection up, and this is not bonus protection; it's protection up, which is Houndstooth. So that means it can be dispelled, um, which is why ships like Cassian or even Hawk, when they come in as reinforcement, they dispel all buffs. And if you have a Houndstooth, which has got a lot of protection up, multiple stacks of it, it's very easy to just go ahead and dispel that using those abilities. So that's an example of a ship which has the protection up ability. So, yeah, so just wanted to give a brief, primer on the protection, the different kinds of protection that we have. And Galactic Republic is something that I'm pretty excited about. I think I can't wait to see what the other tweaks are made on the Galactic Republic faction. I do have my Kenobi maxed, and my Jedi Knight Anakin is only G11. I think there's more to come for Jedi Knight Anakin, definitely. I think when Padme comes in through the TB, the new territory battle, I think Jedi Knight Anakin is probably going to get a Zeta at that time, or his kit is going to be tweaked a little bit to synergize more with her. But Ahsoka, I'm pretty impressed with. I think for Jedi Knight Anakin and GK, it was more of tweaks to the kits. But Ahsoka is someone I'm really excited about. I think I'm going to max her. Right, she was at about gear 9 yesterday. I got her to gear 10 today, and I'm hoping to get it to gear 11 by tomorrow. And then it's going to be a little bit of a slog to get to gear 12, just because she requires so many eyeballs and stun guns and stun cuffs. So it's going to be probably a little while, but I think she's going to be worth it, especially maxed in a fully Galactic Republic squad. I think Ahsoka is going to hit pretty hard, so I'm excited about that. Probably she might get my next Zeta after I give my one Zeta to Malik. I think that's the only one missing. Asuka is going to get my next Zeta with the assist. All right, so let's head directly into the grand arena. I think there's enough talking from my side. One of my close friends actually who watches my videos, he mentioned that I talk too much, and he reminded me of I reminded him of a Microsoft online course. So I'm gonna try. I found that hilarious. So I'm gonna try to be a little less lectury and just try to focus on the battles over here. All right. So before we go on to this one, I'll give a brief overview of what happened in my last battle with Too Little. Um, so if you remember, I cleared uh, this section over here with the exception of Night Sisters, where I had to go in again with the second team to clear Nest. But otherwise, it was one shot. My opponent wasn't able to clear my GK Scoundrel hybrid team. So I was pretty happy with the performance of this team. Probably because it was new and it was something that they hadn't faced before, they got a little hung up on it. They did take a couple of battles on my Django just because Nest was in there, but everything else was one shot, including my Darth Revan and my sisters. But this GK Scoundrel team tripped them up a bit. So I'm quite happy with the performance of this one. I think I'll continue, and for that reason, I continued keeping that in this grand arena as well. So let me briefly go through the defenses that I set and what my opponent has done so far. So they have started attacking, and they've one shot three of my team. So my Django team, which I decided to keep Nest away from there and kept Zam instead. That was one shot. My General Grievous team was one shot, as well as my Kira prepared scoundrels. I think he might have taken his JTR over there. And then my opponent went and tried my sisters. I think that he might have taken his troopers against them, but unsuccessful. I think they managed to get Talzin down, but it was unsuccessful. And then they stopped attacking, and they might be waiting for me to finish clearing the board before they decide their strategy. So the fact that my opponent went before me actually helped me out quite a bit because I can play more relaxed, knowing that as long as I one shot everything and don't take two attempts on any battle, I will stand a very good chance of winning. My opponent will not be able to catch up on the lost points, the 20 lost banners that they got on Night Sisters. So it's good to go second, just so that you know how much you can afford to lose. So that's a welcome change. In terms of the ships, I kept my Millennium Falcon on offense, and as did my opponent. They have a Max Millennium Falcon as well, 7 star. In terms of the inventory and the roster itself, they've got. I mean, this opponent has won two of their battles, so their roster is pretty good. They have everything that I have with decent mods. They've got the Darth Revan team, no Malak though. Excuse me. And they've got Jedi Knight Revan, CLS, C3PO, Treya, JTR, all of which they've kept on offense. So they've gone really offense heavy. And they've kept a relatively weak defense. I wouldn't say it's completely weak. There's really no cheese teams except for maybe this Jin team and this Ewok team, which I'll probably take out with troopers. But excuse me. Apart from that, they've kept decent medium teams. I would say B grade teams on defense and kept all their A teams on offense. So it'll be pretty straightforward to take this out. I have a lot of my offense left, so as long as I one shot everything, it should be pretty straightforward. So I'm gonna go with the toughest teams first, probably the Bastilla and the Night Sister team. What I'm going to do is, since there's no Revens or Treya or CLS over here, I can afford to use. I've got all my Treya, Revan, CLS teams on offense, so I can afford to use my Treya on the Night Sisters. So let's go ahead and do that. Excuse me. All right, so I'm just going to go in with the Sit trio, and that should be enough to take this out. All right. And then we can tackle the the boss team probably. All right, drain force. So I'm going to isolate the zombie and try to get a cooldown reduction on my Nihilus, and then annihilate one of these folks over here. Probably Daka. Let me get rid of some protection over here. I think Annihilate is going to come up in the next turn. There we go. So let's annihilate Daka so she doesn't revive anymore. And let's work on Talzin. Okay. So now Zombie Revive is going to probably revive them. And yeah, let me just end up using the 2 zombie free revives. That should take care of the second revive. There we go. Now we are free to kill since we've used up the revives. Okay, let's isolate Zombie and then finish off the rest of the sisters. She's not going to be much problem now. Let's take care of Talzin. And then annihilate. And we'll just wait for the dispel to come. And then we can take care of Acolyte, who's hidden. So this should give us about 60 banners, if my calculation is correct. 59. Okay. Um, all right, let's see what the next team is that I need to take out. Probably the Basti team might be the next biggest one. They don't have much damage there. Well, they do have Ezra, Zeta Ezra, and Basti can deal pretty decent damage over there as well. So I might just take my CLS team against them. Rebels. All right. And C3PO and who else? I like Scat Rebel Pathfinder on this team. Lots of turn meter. Okay, let's stun Basti, because if I stun Ezra or anybody else, Basti is just gonna dispel them, cleanse that stun, give them buffs, and have them assist. So Basti might be the best person to stun. Might as well get rid of her. All right, who do I give this to? Han. Okay, that gets rid of Basti. And let's just get rid of Anakin, and then the next big damage dealer, which is Ezra. All right, now it's just Barris who's left. Everyone should be at full protection. So you see over here on using basics, I was talking about the protection up, right? Yeah, protection up. So we've got 1 stack of protection up just because buffs are being gained for Galactic Republic. Anytime he gains a buff, he gets bonus protection. So it's an interesting buff. and that's something which is it's going to be pretty important for Galactic Republic, and I'm keen to see what other unique things they do with that buff. Um, Pretty exciting stuff. I'm definitely going to give GK his Zeta as well. It might look like a niche Zeta, but just because there's going to be so much of bonus protection on Galactic Republic, I think it's going to make GK a constantly taunting tank. That's sounds really promising. Okay, he's kept his EP team over here. That's funny. I thought that he might use his EP team to counter Darth Revan's on defense. Maybe they thought that I wouldn't keep my Darth Revan on defense, but I should have used EP against that. But anyway, the Bounty Hunter team looks like the next toughest one. Um, they've got a few Zetas and they've got a decently geared Embo as well. So I'm going to, what is the speed on this Bosk? 277, so pretty fast and modded for a lot of protection, not much health, and not tenacity as well. It's just bunches of protection. So it looks like it's a tanky bounty hunter team. So I might have to use my next best team on this, which is going to be Jedi. And I think I'll use my Revan on that. So since I really won't be using Revan for anything else, um, I'll save my Basti probably and use yeah, use these guys. And who else can I use? Maybe Anakin. Yep, let's use Anakin. I wonder if the no. So Anakin's rework, huh, probably. Maybe the rework might be live. We get to try it out to see if the rework is live in Grand Arena. So I got two attackers, one tank, and I've got Jolie Bindo to revive. Okay, this should do it. Let's see if Anakin is his new kit is reflected in Grand Arena. That would be nice. Let us let's focus down on Boba. All right, so looks like the new kit is active. There you see the Yodas and Anakin. Both of them are Galactic Republic, so they've got protection up. And because Anakin critted four times, both of them have got four counts of protection up, which is great. Okay, let's get rid of spread some buffs around and get rid of this guy. Okay. Mm, okay, let me just keep working on Bosk. He's almost down. Once once the protection is used up, Bosk becomes really squishy because he gets bonus defense when he's at full health, and all bounty hunters, in fact. So so having getting them below 100% health is really great. It really melts them. My Anakin hit for 25k on basic. It seemed a little harder than what he usually hits. So I don't know if they tweaked any stats on Anakin or not. But but my Anakin is G11 and usually doesn't hit that hard. So um, maybe it was just the buffs on him, offense up and all that. All right, so I saved my Basti, so I think I'm going to end up using my Basti against the EP team. Whatever Jedi I have left, they're going to get tenacity up, bonus protection up. And what I'm also going to do is I probably won't need my Thrawn, so I'm going to end up using my Thrawn over here as well. Or maybe I don't need my Thrawn. Who else is there? Oh, I can use visas since I've got a couple of Sith in here in the EP team. I can use visas in there to get some assists. So EP team is pretty safe as long as there's no debuffs. Okay, let's get rid of EP. There he goes. I wonder why dots landed on Qui-Gon Jinn because hmm, because he had the bonus protection, so he should have less tenacity. All right, he should have more tenacity rather. Okay, let's dispel. Let's get rid of Tarkin. His Vader must have really high potency. Wow. Okay, let me. I lost my. Who was that? I had. I had another Jedi in there, Qui-Gon Jinn. Yeah, he's pretty squishy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to revive him using Visas in the next turn. Get some extra banners. Okay. So Qui-Gon Jinn also is Galactic Republic, and I hope that he gets a little bit of a tweak. He's really squishy. If not anything else, they should just tweak his stats to make him a little more beefy. But Qui-Gon Jinn, Mace is another one who has been buffed only in TWs, but not really in game itself. That's another character which I really want to see buffed. He's had two reworks already, but both of them have been lackluster. And I think what they've been doing in the territory wars as a rework might be a precursor to what actually might end up in the kit, because that's what happened with Grievous. If you remember in November, I think of last year, November or December, when you had Grievous got one of the Grievous and Mace both got their buffs in Territory Wars. His actual kit for Grievous ended up being pretty similar and close to what was there in the Territory War bonus. So I have a feeling that they used these Territory Wars as sort of a testing ground before the actual kit is revealed. So the clones bonus, for example, or the Geo bonus, or Mace's rework, all these three things are, I think, when the final kit reveal comes out, I think it'll be pretty close to the testing that they've done in TW in terms of the bonuses they gave there. It'll probably won't be as OP as it was out there, but the in terms of the direction of the kit, it'll be pretty similar to what we're already seeing. So I think they've been using the TW as testing grounds for that. And I hope that Mace gets similar treatment to what we saw in Territory Wars. Okay, so we have, let's see, we've got our crew team left, we have an EP team left, Evox, Troopers, um, and JTR as well. So these Evox look very weak, so let's just take Troopers against them and finish them off. Okay. I didn't check the speed, but I think I outspeed them. My stock should be at 260 something. So that's 280 something with the bonus. Wicket seems to be the weakest, so let's get the Train started. Next is low gray, and yeah, yeah, this should be pretty straightforward. Okay, 60 banners. Now, just a couple of other teams left. Crew and this one. So I've got my JTR, so I think I'm just going to take JTR against Crew. No risks at all. As long as I one shot it, I'm winning this. So no risk absolutely. Oh, Finn is another guy that I need to level and gear up. He's only G9 right now, but I've been seeing some good things with him, both in the raid as well as under JTR lead. So that's definitely something which I've been sleeping on. Probably after I finish gearing um, Anakin and Ahsoka, I might touch on Finn. Okay, let's take out Fox. There he is, and apply some days. Holdo is great against First Order. Any character which applies AoE days, they're a really excellent tune. Logray, for example, Wampa, it's all excellent stuff. Which is why I was actually afraid that when Malik came out, I thought his kit, before he was released, I thought his kit would definitely have AoE days, because that's one way to neutralize all the assists that the Jedi give out. But yep, that wasn't the case. All right, let's get some healing immunity over here on uh, on Kylo Ren and Mast, and stun as well. Let's get rid of this guy. And does anyone need protection bump up? Yep. So I think Resistance Trooper has got a little low protection. So another reason I like to take Holdo in over here is, apart from Illuminated Destiny, Holdo's special reprieve is also enables them to recover some protection, 20% protection in this case. Probably won't end with full protection, but on a couple of them, probably we'll get only 58 most likely. Yep. Okay, only one team left. And so that's Rebels. So I kept my Wampa and Nest on defense. So that's one change that I forgot to talk about. Um, I um I took out my Sidious and Visas from the Karth team over here and decided to make it a little tougher to take out by keeping in Nest and Wampa. Both Nest and Wampa are capable of soloing weak teams by themselves, but I didn't think that any opponent with a good roster will keep weak teams on defense, like Phoenix Rebels or anything like that. So I didn't keep these guys there. I uh, I decided to make this team a little tougher because just Nest by herself can sometimes take two battles. You take one battle to clear off the rest of the characters, and another battle just to take Nest off. So I decided to make that team a little tougher to take out. Just because since I was already breaking up Mission and Zalbar from the Karth team, I needed to make that slightly tougher. It left my Django lead bounty hunter slightly weaker, but I that team was already fast, and I think that was taken out by a JTR. So that's why I was comfortable keeping Nest and Wampa in here. Okay, let's take out this final battle. I think I'll just go in with my, could go in either with EP or crew. Let me go in with my EP team. Haven't used them in a while, and I've got Evox as well, and Rex, and Akbar and Leia. But I think I'll just go in with an Empire team to take this out. Sure. Yep. So this is a classic Empire team, and this is a really good counter to Rebels and specifically Jin Rebels. Okay, get the turn meter train starting, and let's fracture base so that we can take care of the others. Reduce some turn meter, apply some stun, shock a few, get rid of Jin so because she is the only one capable of reviving. Get some protection back to this guy. All right, so if I hit Biggs, he's going to get 100% turn meter just because if he's hit by an Empire ally or if he's critically hit, he gets full turn meter. But if I hit any of these other guys, I'm going to end up getting countered. So it doesn't matter. We shock him. Ability block. And let me fracture him again. Yep, so anytime Biggs is damaged by any Empire characters, he ends up getting turn meter. Okay, let's take out Chirrut while Baze is fractured and stunned. All right, 60 banners. Right. So, yep, the defense wasn't really tough. I was actually pleasantly surprised to see that because I thought that my opponent would keep a really tough defense. The last two matchups that I've had, they kept really tough defenses. Jedi Knight Revan or Darth Revan, and it's taken some thinking to get through those. But I think my opponent must have seen my roster and decided to go offense heavy. But then if you decide to do that and leave a B team defense, you need to make sure that you one shot everything and overkill if possible. So I think probably should have taken something stronger against the Night Sister team. He kept his EP team on defense. If he had it on offense, you could have used that to take out the Night Sisters. Even if he used his Revan or Jedi Knight Revan or Darth Revan on my Darth Revan team, he could have used the EP team to take this out pretty easily. So I think that keeping EP on defense cost my opponent. All right, let's finish this off with Rebels, and then we can wrap this up. All right, so this is my standard starting trio. This is what I use in the arena. And yep, this should uh, this should do it. Geo. So Geo ships is something that I haven't developed so far. I need to uh, I need to start doing that because the um, the Geonosis territory battle, which is starting up, I'm sure the geos, not just the ships, but the characters themselves, will be pretty important for that. And my geos, my ships are not leveled up, even though they're all 7 star. My ships are not leveled up, and my characters are all G7, G8. So that's something which I definitely need to work on before the territory battle starts. But I think what I'm planning to do is I'm planning to keep hoard all my resources and see how they're actually used in the territory battle before I decide to invest in them. I mean, for all geos might be a required faction, just like how bounty hunters are in the dark side territory battle. Or on the other hand, geos might end up being like the hot rebel scout or the hot rebel soldiers of the light side territory battle, where you can get away with having them at low gear. I mean, even Rolo and Cholo, you can get away with having them in low gear. That is just fine for territory battles. So it's that's something that I want to wait on to see how it actually pans out before I gear them. I think ships, they might Geos might still be a good idea to gear just for the ships, but the other characters, Galactic Republic like Ethkoth or Amagandai, all the other Galactic Republic Jedi who are lesser used, those guys I'm probably going to hold off on gearing them, just because they might end up being the next Hot Rebel Scout or Hot Rebel Soldier. So that's yeah, that's probably a good idea. Anakin and Ahsoka, it was too tempting not to gear them up just because their kits looked so good. And if I pull GK away, they'll make a great B Jedi team. And I can afford to then put my Basti back in my Jedi Revan team with maybe a tank like Old Ben or something like that, and then use a Jedi team, a Galactic Republic Jedi team with Grandmaster with GK, Grandmaster Yoda, Anakin, Ahsoka, and maybe one more Galactic Republic Jedi, maybe Barris or someone like that. And then use Ezra as the damage dealer, Ezra and Basti as the damage dealers under Revan, with Old Ben as the tank and Jolie as the reviver. I think that will be a strong team, and the GK team would be a strong team. So I think those are the two Jedi teams that I'm leaning towards right now. Basti lead is obviously pretty good, but I think the Galactic Republic has got some potential. And even if you don't decide to go with all five Jedi, even if you decide to skip Barris and go with somebody like C3PO, C3PO gives all Galactic Republic extra defense penetration. So and a lot of protection up synergy again over there. So that's another character that I could potentially use in a Galactic Republic Jedi team. So those are my some of my initial thoughts on how I want to use the Galactic Republic team, which is why I'm gearing up Anakin and Ahsoka. All right, so that's a wrap. Wasn't that exciting of a match. I was expecting a little more from a finals, but I got a weak defense, so nothing much I can do about that. But hopefully you guys found the commentary useful, and I will. So this is the end of the 5v5 Grand Arena. The next one, I believe, is 3v3 with ships, and I think this is the very first time that we're having 3v3 with ships. I don't remember 3v3 with ships being there before. We don't know whether it's a single section like this one or two sections with one hidden behind the other, but we'll find out soon enough. And I'll think of a few interesting new teams to think of for to keep on defense for 3v3, and hopefully I'll get to showcase them to you guys during the next stream of Grand Arena. All right, I will talk to you guys later, and thanks for tuning in. Good night.